Now I'm going to show you how to go about searching for an article. It doesn't really matter what the topic is. So the one I'm going to be searching for is the idea of response to intervention. The first thing I want to do is go to the databases. To do that, I go to Research, click on Databases. It is possible to click on any of the 50 or so databases in the list and search just within that one. But for a general purpose search, the best thing to do is go to the E section and choose EBSCOhost Research Databases. At this screen, we're just going to check the box to search them all at the same time. And here at the search screen, you'll notice obviously there's 3 search boxes up here. We could also add more or get rid of some if we wanted to. There's also a great deal of information scrolling down this page. Most of this stuff I suggest you ignore at this point. I find that it's most helpful to do a fairly simple search and then to filter out the results that you don't want, rather than try to adjust all of the settings ahead of time. When you do that, it's very easy to accidentally filter out everything, and then you're not sure if we really don't have anything on the subject or if something else is wrong. So to start with, I'm just going to type in response to intervention. You'll notice that there's a pull-down menu there of suggested terms. Just because those appear there doesn't mean that they're necessarily any good, so I usually don't follow that advice. I just click on search. And we get a list of results here of 8,933, which is quite a bit. So as I said before, our next step is to start filtering these. One of the first things that we want to do when it comes to filtering is go over here to the left and click on the box that says Scholarly Peer-Reviewed Journals. Most of your instructors are going to want you to use journals like that. Those are just journals where there's an editorial board reviewing all of the submitted articles to make sure that they're of good quality. So if we check that box, it filters out about 3,000 of the articles that we previously had. So now we're down to about 5,000 or so. And we could begin scrolling through these. Since that's still a pretty big number, we might want to also filter by publication date. Many instructors would prefer that you use articles from the last 5 years, the last 10 years. So to do that, I'm just going to slide this date bar here so that we're looking at, let's say, the last 10 years. And that brings it down to 4,291. Still quite a few. As we scroll through this list, one thing you'll notice is that like at the beginning, you see response to intervention appearing in the title. That's because the database is trying to find the most relevant items and show them to you first. One way to help it do that is to slightly adjust the search up here. So right now we're searching in all these different fields like the abstract and the subject. And what we can do instead is tell it to just look in the title for the words response to intervention. That way, there's a greater chance that the articles that come up are actually about that topic, rather than articles that just mention it in passing on maybe the last page or so. So after we change that to title, let's click search. And now we have about 1,164 articles. Still a big number. So there are definitely other ways that we could narrow this down. You'll notice over here that there's a full text limiter. And if we turn that on, then the database is just going to show us articles that are immediately available in full text, as opposed to articles that might have to be ordered through Article Reach or Interlibrary Loan. It's tempting to do this all of the time. Just keep in mind that if you're doing a project like a dissertation, the whole point of the dissertation is to be comprehensive, so you would not want to use the full text limiter in that situation. But if you're writing a 5 to 10 page paper and you have 1,100 resources, that's way more than you're going to need, so it's probably fine to just turn on full text in that case. So if we do that, it's going to reduce the set of results down to 668. And you can see by applying additional filters step by step, we're able to cut down the number of results to a manageable level. And each step along the way, if we mess something up and get 0 results, we immediately know what we screwed up and we can reverse it. Other ways that we could narrow down this list of results would be to add additional keywords. Since these boxes are connected by the AND Boolean operator, any other terms that we add in here are going to have the effect of reducing the number of keywords. So lots of different ways that we could go here. We could put in terms about a specific population, urban versus rural, for example. If there's a certain age of child that we're interested in looking at response to intervention, like elementary school, for example, we'll try that. And then cuts it down to about 227. Obviously, we're not going to read all those articles, but it is not an insurmountable number of results to just skim through like this. So while looking at the results, you'll notice that most of these obviously have full text links, either kind of hidden like this one, or right out where you can see it like this one. That would change a little bit if we remove the full text limiter. And let's see. Now you'll see that some of the articles have the full text link and some of them have this full text finder. If it's an article that you're interested in locating, you always want to try out the full text finder. This is either going to, it's going to open up another tab, first of all. And in that tab is going to be either a form that you can use to order the article through Article Reach, or the full text of the article, just depending on whether or not we really have access to it. All right. A couple of other things to be aware of. Sometimes as you're going through search results, you'll see that there's a subject field here, and this could be a good place to look for other search terms that you might want to use. So if we looked at everything with response to intervention and we just weren't finding what we wanted, that would be a good cue for us to start looking for alternate terms. Here we see there's one that's just intervention instead of response to intervention. That's potentially relevant. Maybe we're looking at assessments and scoring. So we notice that here there's a subject heading for scoring rubrics. So that would be another term that we could look at. And it's pretty easy to use those other terms. All we would have to do is click on the title of the article to go to the detailed record. And then here, the subject terms, or descriptors, as this database calls them, are all hyperlinked. So all you have to do is click on one, and it's going to run a search of that term. So now it's searching this different term, and we get a set of results pertaining to that. This is not something you always have to do, but if you're running into a brick wall, using alternate terms in this way can be very helpful. Also, just to make you aware, we have another video that shows how to go through the process of ordering an article through Article Reach, which sometimes happens when you're clicking the Find Full Text link. So definitely check out that video if you haven't already, and we'll see you next time.